Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Centimetre Perfect AFL podcast. We have made it through 19 rounds of the 2025 AFL season, 19 and 3/4 if you count opening round. We are rapidly approaching finals time. We are rapidly approaching
Too fast.
deciding who will be on top of the competition and also who will be foraging around for those better draft picks. I am Jesse Dart. Over there on the other side of my screen is Liam. Liam,
Hello.
how are you? It was a great round of footy for some fans and a disappointing one for others.
Yes, it was a very fantastic round of footy. So much so, Jesse, that I've brought out the old Pav jumper.
So
That's how good it was for me. I don't bring this out often, but for special occasions. But we'll get to that later on in the game's review. But we have much to discuss first, Jesse, our deep dive for the day. Before we get to that, where can people find us?
They can find us at CMPerfect_AFL on Instagram, our social media platform. For those watching the show this week, hello, you can see us. Please consider liking and subscribing if you are enjoying our content. This is also the only place to catch our Just the Tips weekly preview show where we dissect who we think is going to win in the upcoming round. To our podcast audience, that being Apple, Amazon, and Spotify, hello to you as well. A review is much appreciated if you are enjoying what we are putting out, especially as we head into finals time. Obviously, the best time to attract a new audience to the show is finals time when there's more interest floating around. So if you're enjoying it, let the world know by leaving a like or review or subscribe on whatever relevant platform you are, or do them on all of them.
Yes, please do. Share the love.
Mail in. I don't think we don't have a PO box, do we? Do people even mail anymore?
I'm sure some people do, Jesse. Not for us though. We don't take actual mail. Not yet, anyway. If the demand is there, we will open a PO box. Sure.
Not a reply paid one though. I refuse to do that.
No, lock bag, like the old days. Oh, enough about that, Jesse. We got so much to get through today. We got 9 games of football to go through, but first we're going to go through our deep dive this week. Jesse, now you've prepared something. We've gone through the teams. We've gone through who should be poached in the free agency. We've gone through all sorts. Today we're going through what?
We're going through your team's most improved players so far in season 2025 with a couple of key caveats. And what are those caveats? Well,
I'm going to get the screen share going straight away, Jesse, because we've got the rules. I was told that I must have the rules ready to go, because we've had 2 sets of rules the last 2 weeks. Now we need to know what they are. Jesse, here they are. Cannot be new to the club in 2025. That's rule 1 for this most improved deep dive. And rule number 2, must have 50 games before season starts. So before the start of the 2025 season, these players must have played 50 games. Now, Jesse, why have you put such rules on yourself?
Well, because it's easy to improve when you're in a new environment. See John Noble at Gold Coast. He was probably the main catalyst for why I wanted to do this video and talk about players who have improved demonstrably, and then my own rules put him out of bounds. And I think 50 games before the start of the season, because that's a lot of just natural development and progression. And for a couple of these players, that still does ring true. But I wanted to kind of get a bit of a broader scope. And it's easy to say, oh, look, that young player's getting better. Now, I wanted to get a healthy mix of players who have gone to a new level, maybe change roles within the team, but also those young stars are up and coming as well.
Absolutely. And as true to form, I'm just here to be the graphics boy, and I'll jump in when I can. This is all Jesse all the time. He is the knowledgeable one. And as we always do, I suggested we do reverse. You didn't want it, so we're going to start with Adelaide. Here we go. Riley Thilthorpe. Thilthorpe. It's always a fun name to say. God, he's been monstrous this year, Jesse, hasn't he? He's been huge.
He's been enormous, and I think we're starting to see the benefits of a full season injury-free for Thilthorpe, because he's been able to just elevate and become the key cornerstone of that Adelaide forward line, and it's a very good Adelaide forward line. He is the lighthouse of that forward line. He's the one that you're looking for when you're going into attacking 50. He's the main guy, and if you can get that ball in his area, you back him to take the mark and you back him to kick the goal. So he has taken leaps and bounds forward this season. I think we're talking about a genuinely elite forward already, with plenty of scope still to improve as well, given he is relatively young.
I think I know what the secret is for Riley as well. The bigger that beard gets, the better he gets, and that's all there is to it. But just having him there, and then also having Tex and Fogarty and Rankin all just there, it's a formidable forward line that's been just, I was going to say kicking goals, literally kicking goals this year. Good to see for Riley. Shall we move on, Jesse? Let's rock on to the Lions. Hugh McCluggage. Have you chosen all the funniest names for the deep dive, Jesse? Hugh McCluggage, he's been great this year. He's been
What I think Hugh McCluggage thinks his name is funny.
That's very true. Apologies, Hugh.
Yes, noted fan of the show. McCluggage has really made that midfield spot his own in season 2025 for Brisbane. He's always been a player that is very reliable, very serviceable, bordering on that very good. But I think we're talking about a potential All-Australian this year. His production has massively increased. There was, I guess, questions about how that would go with Lachie Neale and Dane Dorker. These guys kind of detransitioning out of high ball winning games. So you look at guys like Dunkley, McCluggage, Rayners to fill that void. I think McCluggage has done the best of those and has really set himself up to be an All-Australian squad member, if not part of that best 22. And for that alone, he's got to be in here.
He was pretty good last year. So he's just excelled this year? Is that why he's in the
New peak? He's getting more of the ball. He's using it better. He's commanding more attention from opposition. He's clearly gone to an extra level this year. And when you're talking about players in this kind of bracket league, you're not necessarily looking for an enormous jump just with how the scale of improvement works. You're at that steeper end with a guy like McCluggage. So you're not expecting necessarily a leaps and bounds improvement. You're talking about a guy who only needs to improve fractionally to have a significant impact on output. I think McCluggage probably falls into that bracket.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the Carlton Blues. Jack Silvani. A lot to talk about Jack Silvani's future at the moment, but he's putting it up for the Blues this year, isn't he?
He sure is, and he's had to change his role as well. He's been thrust anywhere that Michael Foster's needed him to throughout the season, and a disappointing one for Carlton. And there were some teams that were very hard to pick in this deep dive. There was teams where I actually sat down for two of them and thought, oh, can I put the tea lady in here? Because such is the poorness of those teams. But look, Carlton don't have a lot themselves. Silvani has been, I think, quite good, has been clearly a standout for them amongst a bunch of very poor players for Carlton, certainly players not progressing on to the level they would have hoped to be at this season. Signing him is very important now because, and there's another player we'll talk about in this breath as well later on, but we're getting to the point now, flirting with August, where these players aren't signing. Every week it gets harder to then keep them. So they need to get this done, Carlton, because he's been a clear improver for them.
Yeah, massive improver. Absolutely. Let's go to the Magpies. Darcy Cameron. Big fella.
Wasn't he good on Sunday for Collingwood? Hasn't even been good all season. He's established himself as one of the premier rucks in the competition in that athletic, mobile category of ruckman. He moves around the ground beautifully. He can go and take a clunk down back, up forward. Very valuable to have, and it allows someone like Mason Cox to just ruck, even though I think Cameron is a better ruck than Cox. It does give McRae more versatility and more options with his team selection. Cameron's gone from being an okay defender to an elite ruck, and I suspect a big contract payday isn't too far around the corner for him if he keeps his numbers going.
Spot on, Jesse. Let's go to the Bombers. Was this one of the ones you struggled with? Will Setterfield. Yeah,
this was hard. Setterfield hasn't set the world alight at Essendon, but he's been an improver in a bad side, in a very, very bad side. A side that's been smashed in clearance, smashed across the park. But he's been okay. I know obviously injuries have curtailed that, but he's a player that I can look at and say, compare it to round 1 or round 0 to where we are now. He has improved, and he's improved by a decent margin. Not a lot of other options here, though, for the Bombers, I will say that.
The Dockers, Geordie Clark, hasn't he had just a stellar year? One of our glue that holds the backline together sometimes.
Yeah, and Clark's got a really difficult role too because he's got to be accountable to an attacking opponent while also generating those rebound 50s and effective disposals coming off halfback. So he's had it tough. It's a difficult role to play. Often you get a guy like a midfielder dropping into that role, your Sheasels, your Nick Dacos's. Clark's a genuine defender, and he's filling that role quite well. He's a heart and soul player, but his production's improved, his disposal has improved, and also his confidence has improved as well.
Big time.
I feel like watching him this season. So 3 big ticks for him. Don't be surprised if he's finishing top 3 or top 5 in the best and fairest this year for Fremantle. He has been excellent.
He's been stellar. Going on to the Suns, Noah Anderson for Gold Coast, Jesse.
Yeah, another one at that top end of the gradient here for me, Liam. Anderson hasn't improved necessarily in leaps and bounds. He was already an elite to sub-elite player last season, but his production's taken a big step up, and you can see on field the impact that has on the Suns. This isn't one where you're necessarily going to see it statistically and say, yeah, Anderson's had a huge leap forward, although he has progressed this season, but his ability to influence games and ability to command that midfield, I think, is what has put me in a position to advocate for him in this spot. He's been excellent. The Suns have improved because he's improved. And, I think if he's in a Victorian team, the media coverage he'd be getting would be tenfold to where we're at now.
100%. Let's go on to the next team. Geelong Cats, Max Holmes. He's good, isn't he?
Holmes' big breakout year was last year, but another one that's just, again, gone to another level above this season. He has managed to find a really nice floating role in that Cats mid. He can play as more of that attacking seagull, if you like, the one that gets the handball out of the contest and then goes. He can go in and get the hard ball himself. He can rotate forward. Lots of options for the Cats. And I think when you're looking at a team like Geelong and you're looking at where their improvement has come from this season compared to last, Bailey Smith is the obvious, but ineligible due to being in a new club this season for this deep dive anyway. Holmes is the other. And those two potentially give a rise to a very different midfield dynasty to what Geelong have had in recent decades, but still a very good one in itself.
Absolutely. Let's go on to it. Flying through these, Jesse. The Giants, Lockie Ash, a name that you hear every week. And when I did the picture for this one, I was like, oh, that's what he looks like.
Well, Ash is an interesting one because he's very much an AFL fantasy player's dream. He plays a similar role to what Jordan Clark does at Fremantle. He gets those half-back, those rebound 50s, efficient kicking is the name of the game, those type of things. The Jake Lloyd position from about 10 years ago, if you will. Ash is an interesting one because he has divided a lot of opinions. Is he actually good? Is he not that good? I think he is. And I think you're looking at a Giants side that has the ability to transition quickly, and when they do that, they look lethal. Ash is a key part of that. Very rarely is he not involved in these nice build-ups. He's able to defend well at his size and take on those small forwards as needed, but he's also able to really generate effective disposals out of that back 50 with penetrating kicks. So that's a big tick for him. He's able to get drive out of that back line and help set the play. They've got one on the next side now with Lockie Whitfield and Lockie Ash. That's terrifying, and that's the reason GWS is still in his finals hunt. Their ability to transition the ball quickly.
The Hawthorn Hawks, Harry Morrison, Jesse.
This was a difficult one for me, actually, Liam, because your obvious ones like your Lloyd Meeks, they already had big seasons last year. Meek could have been a gradient pick, but we've had a few of those, so I wanted to look a bit out of the periphery of that. Morrison he spent time in the VFL last season. It looked like he was going to struggle to really get close to a spot in this Hawthorn team, but he's played just about every game this year. He's been a reliable contributor. He has carved out a spot for himself in that best 22. That's a big tick. That's what you want. He plays his role well. He's clearly able to keep his spot because he's shown ability, and he has influenced games as well. He's been important for Hawthorn and when they've needed some more senior players to stand up, apart from some of the younger, more frenetic heads in that side. So Morrison for me here, not a big improvement necessarily, but enough of an improvement to embed his spot down in the team and ensure that he's a valuable part of a Hawthorn finals charge.
Very good. Let's go to the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Paul Curtis. He's been good up forward. He's been very, very good.
Excellent up forward.
Very good.
This is exciting. This is very exciting. His form has ever so slightly tapered in the last month or so, maybe 6 weeks or so. But you're still talking one of the best small forwards in the competition this season. He's looked dangerous. His tackling pressure is elite. His game sense is elite. I think a combination of him and Nick Larkey going forward, that's got real potential. And you're starting to see these little green lights appear in North's best 22. Right, this is my spot. This is my spot. I think Curtis has filled now one for himself. Potentially another big improvement next year if we do this list next year as well. But right now, this step forward has been monumental.
Been huge for the Kangas. Moving on to the Demons, Jake Bowie.
Yeah, not a lot of big improvers across Melbourne's side this season, but Bowie is one, and he is a genuine big improver this year. Gone from being a player that was, a useful part of those Melbourne teams that were contending, to being a real back pocket first selection. He's one of the first names on the team sheet now. Very reliable defensively, very reliable by foot. I think you look at him and Trent Rivers, you're starting to see these little pairings come up a little bit more. Bowie and Rivers still quite young. Rivers probably did his big leap last year. If we were doing this list 12 months ago, that would be the player I'd be going with. Bowie's done it this season. Big step in the right direction. I think we're getting a very underrated and quality player in this list with him.
I believe this is one of the ones you were saying to keep last week. I think Melbourne need to keep him this year, right?
Spargo last week. Jake was in there somewhere. He's important was what I'm saying. He's goddamn important. Moving on to the power, Mitch Georgiades, a breakout year for Mitch. And much like his fellow South Australian key forward in Riley Thilthorpe, the benefits of being on the park for 18, 19 weeks of the season. Georgiades has had a really good run with injury. He's been able to command that key forward spot at Port. And look what he's generating as a result. He's one of the best forwards in the competition by goals kicked this season. He's looking more assured. The exciting thing is for Port fans, I think there's still more to come here. I don't think we've reached the ceiling of Mitch Georgiades just yet.
Peak Mitch.
I don't think we have. So that's a really positive sign for Port Adelaide fans. They've got a guy that's learning how to command a forward line, getting his routine down pat, getting that confidence through his body, both psychologically to then take his set shots, but also with his injuries as well and making sure he's confident in how he's playing. Big signs here for the future. I've loved what we've seen this season from Georgiades on the whole.
Yeah, we were a bit worried about him at the start of the season, late last season, but he's definitely turned it around, which is nice to see. Let's go to the Tigers. Toby Nankervis, the stalwart.
Yeah, this was a bit of a hard one because there wasn't
Who's
a lot
played
of
50
options.
games? Who's played 50 games at Richmond?
Well, who's played 50 games and improved? Because you got a bracket of like Camden McIntosh, Toby Nankervis, Tim Taranto, Jacob Hopper. But I think Nankervis is a difficult one. I do think he's at his career peak this season, or at least in the last two. So I think this is the best we've seen Toby Nankervis play. He's captain in the club. I think he probably wins the best and fairest this year. I just think he's at the stage now where we can say this is the best version of Toby Nankervis that we've seen. He's winning the ball in hit-outs. He's getting into effective teammates. He's looking a lot more mobile than he has in other seasons as well, which for a big guy, and he is a big, well-set gentleman, he does move around the ground really well. And he's certainly gotten better at that mobility as his career's gone on. So I think we're seeing the best version of Toby Nankervis right now. By that virtue, he's got to be their most improved player, I think, compared to the others within that bracket.
He's leading the young Tigers very well, is Toby. Let's move on to the Saints. Of course, who else could it be? Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera. I mean, you can't say enough good things about Nasiah, can you?
Well, I'm going to say something right now, Liam.
Okay.
If you sat me down and locked me in a room and said, you cannot exit this room until the night of the 2026 Brownlow medal count, and you can only exit it if you pick the winner correctly, and this was had to happen today, I think I'd be tipping Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera.
Wow.
I honestly, the more I watch him, the more I am gobsmacked that TDK has been offered more money than him to stay at St Kilda. This is a $2 million a season player.
Yep.
What he can do in contest, 10 clearances against Geelong on the weekend, what he can do off halfback, this is a special player. This is the first homegrown megastar the Saints have produced since Nick Riewoldt, and they've probably produced about 4 in 150 years. That's the level I'd put Wanganeen-Millera on. I think he could be anything. And what we've seen this season has been an enormous leap from a very raw, very talented young player to one of the best players in the competition.
Almost like just a not a no-name, but last year wasn't even spoken about that much. I wouldn't have thought.
It was a developing player last year.
And
but he's just skipped a year and gone straight ahead. He's like the very smart kid in school. Nat plan's not for everyone. Straight to ATAR for me. Off I go. That's Wanganeen-Millera in this regard. He is, I think, the most exciting player in the competition right now.
Hard to argue, Jesse. Hard to argue. Only a few more to go. The Swans, James Jordan.
I've loved what Jordan's been able to do in that defensive midfield role. He's increased his production in terms of ball gaining and usage, while also putting the clamps on some of the best midfielders in the competition. He's growing into that tagger role. He probably doesn't get the plaudits of some of the other noted taggers around the competition, although that is a dying art in itself. So I'm giving it to Jordan here. Sydney have not had a lot of improvers, but I like the way Jordan has continued to build those skills. If Sydney can sort themselves out and get back up the ladder, having a guy like Jordan in that team that can clamp a Nick Dacos, clamp a Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera, clamp Caleb Sarong. If he can do that in a final, you're lauding him for the next 20 years. He's the toast of the town.
100%. Let's go on to the second last team, the West Coast Eagles. I've seen this guy's face a lot on our little podcast recently. It's Tom Cole.
I promise he's not a sponsor of this show. Although we might have to play a sponsor him next year at this rate and get our little name on his locker, the way Tom Cole's going. Because I've really liked what I've seen from Tom Cole. And the thing that's important to caveat with him is he's not a megastar. But with McGovern going out, they've obviously lost Hearn in recent seasons. They've had a big change down back at West Coast. Barras obviously left at the end of the last season as well. So they've needed experienced defenders to stand up and help your Harry Edwards, help your Sandy Brocks, and get them up to speed. I really like what Tom Cole has done. He's not Stephen Silvani. He's not Dustin Fletcher. He's not going to be that for you. But what he can be is a guy that can help organise and help stabilise a West Coast team that's often so under siege down back. I've liked what we've seen. So Cole's almost getting this, not necessarily for output, but for leadership development and leadership capability. I've really liked those steps that he's taken in his game this year. And he's just about indispensable now for this West Coast side. He's almost one of your first names picked on the team sheet, because if you lose him, you're in big trouble down back. Because I don't think Harry Edwards or Sandy Brock are at that level yet to marshal a backline. Quality or not, it's a confidence thing. And I think Cole has that. They need that right now.
Yeah, McGovern was a big old general back there, so definitely a hole to fill for sure. Let's finish it up, Jesse, with the Bulldogs. Ed Richards.
I toyed with this one because Ed's big jump was last year when he moved into the midfield a bit more permanently for the Dogs, but he's gone to another level again this year. Much like Anderson and McCluggage, he's in here for his peaks on it got up a little bit, but in terms of impact, that's gone up a lot.
Yeah.
You've noticed Ed Richards a lot more watching Western Bulldogs games this season. I can guarantee it at home. You just have. Because he's been everywhere. He's still using the ball really well. He's just getting more of it. That has more damage to opposition teams. He's now gone from being I'll say good to very good player on the Dogs to an instrumental player. Especially with Adam Treloar's injury concerns. He's now grabbed that bull by two horns. And I said, my position, I'm in the midfield. Bont and Libba aren't going to be around forever. I want to lead this midfield going forward.
Very good, Jesse. Whoa, it was a sprint, but I liked it, Jesse. Done and done. Do you agree with Jesse? Do you think there's a player more improved than what he's put out there? And think outside the box like Jesse has. Don't just give us the best player.
But don't break the rules.
Don't break
the rules. Because if you break the rules, I'll have to make a snide remark in the comments.
He's waiting for it too. Jump in there in the comments.
Actually...
I believe you'll find. No, very, very good job, Jesse. Very good job. Down below the comments, please, @CMPerfect_AFL as well if you want to get involved there as well. Nice one, Jesse.